From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, October the 18th, 2019. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo arrived in Israel today and met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after his meeting yesterday in Ankara with Turkish Prime Minister Recep Erdogan. Pompeo and Erdogan had reached an agreement for Turkey to suspend its attacks in Syria on the Kurds, although there were reports of shelling in the area this morning. In Jerusalem today, Pompeo and Netanyahu discussed Syria and other areas of concern in the region.
We shared our ideas about how we can ensure Middle East stability together and how we would further our efforts to jointly combat all of the challenges that the world confronts here in the Middle East. And we appreciate all that you and your country does to assist America in keeping its people safe as well.
The Middle East is a sea of troubles and turbulence. But if there's one thing that stands out, it's the durability, stability, and strength of the American-Israel alliance. We talked about making it even stronger, and I want to thank you for your consistent support. Thank you, and welcome once again to Jerusalem.
Over 4,000 Palestinians gathered at the Gaza border security fence today for weekly protests, with several hundred taking part in violent rioting, throwing rocks and explosive devices at IDF troops, who responded with tear gas and reportedly live fire when necessary. The Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry said 48 Palestinians were injured. The Times of Israel reported that the U.S. peace team will be returning to Israel soon. The report says White House senior advisor Jared Kushner will visit Israel later this month and hold his first official meeting with Blue and White Party leader Benny Gantz. Kushner is expected to be accompanied by new U.S. Special Representative for International Negotiations, Avi Berkowitz, who replaces outgoing envoy Jason Greenblatt, as well as Special Envoy for Iran, Brian Hook. Well, Israel, as well as Jewish organizations here in the U.S., is voicing outrage over the election of Venezuela and Libya to the United Nations Human Rights Council yesterday. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, referred to the abysmal human rights records of both countries. He said the council continues to abandon human rights and is now in the business of protecting dictators and war crimes. In Venezuela, Danon said a dictator starves his people, and in Libya there are camps that torture African migrants. Leaders of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, Chairman Arthur Stark and Executive Vice Chairman Malcolm Hoenlein, noted the council devotes an inordinate amount of time to condemnations of the democratic state of Israel, saying the council has once again demonstrated its warped standards with the election of Venezuela and Libya. These two countries, they said, are amongst the worst violators of human and civil rights, yet they get to be included in the international body that was intended to counter such violations. Former president of the Israeli Supreme Court, Meir Shamgar, has died. Shamgar served on Israel's highest court for over 20 years, serving before that as Israel's Attorney General and Military Advocate General. Israel's President Reuven Rivlin called Shamgar one of the founding fathers of Israel's legal system. Prime Minister Netanyahu said Meir Shamgar played an important role in shaping Israel's jurisprudence. Speaker of the Knesset, Yuli Edelstein, said Meir Shamgar was one of the pillars of Israeli law and one of its architects. Shamgar died today at the age of 94. A teacher in Great Britain was fired for reportedly telling her students she would, quote, ship them off to the gas chambers if they didn't finish their homework. The Daily Mail reports the teacher at Newbury's primary school in Hertfordshire is said to have made the remarks to her class of 28 10-year-olds, 11 of whom are Jewish, then telling them that she was only joking, apologizing, and telling the children not to tell their parents. But they did, and after outcry from those parents, the teacher was dismissed the following day. Newbury's issued a newsletter reassuring parents that despite, quote, recent events, it was doing all it could to embrace and celebrate diversity. Israel is sending its largest delegation to the Olympics next year. 85 athletes will compete in 18 sports in the Tokyo Games in 2020. In the 2016 Olympics in Rio de Janeiro, Israel sent 47 athletes who competed in 17 sports. 24 of the athletes heading to Tokyo, of that record 85 next year, are members of Team Israel's baseball team, which qualified for the first time this year. And history was made today with the world's first all-female spacewalk, which included Jewish astronaut Jessica Meir, whose father is Israeli and whose mother is Swedish. Meir and Christina Koch exited the International Space Station today, the first time ever that a woman stepped out without a male crewmate. Meir and Koch are working to fix a broken part of the station's solar power network. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Friday, October the 18th. Kabbalat Shabbat services are coming up at 5 from the Hampton Synagogue, followed by Shlomo Riskin looking at this week's Torah portion. Then it's live Shabbat services from Central Synagogue in New York City, followed by a concert of IDF musicians at 7:30. At 8, celebrity chefs speak at the 92nd Street Y. At 9, it's the film Israel Inside. Then at 10, we hear from Israeli innovator Yossi Vardi, and at 10:30, it's Muzika with Laser Lloyd. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, October the 18th, 2019. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.